Welcome, guys, to your dose of crimson reality. This is Red Pilled Robo. Today we're going to talk about the infamous Mr. Beast. I want to go into if Mr. Beast is a moral good to society or a moral detriment. For this video, I'm not going to do a deep dive into whether or not all of the recent allegations against Mr. Beast are true, but we're going to go off of the more credible allegations against Mr. Beast, as well as the questionable business practices that are out in the open. Let me make it clear, regardless of the allegations, I want to question whether someone like Mr. Beast is a moral good to society. Many of you watching may like Mr. Beast and think he's a great guy. I'm not going to deny the good Mr. Beast has done. However, this doesn't negate any bad practices he does engage in. Everyone is capable of doing some good, if even a little. You can be a serial killer and yet be a responsible pet owner of a kitten. You have to look at the whole picture. So don't tell me, well, he's helped a lot of people. That means he's a good dude. Firstly, I want to say Mr. Beast is an entertainer. It's clear that's his primary operation. He helps people on video with expensive cameras, good lighting, and a professional crew. And he makes his videos for the purpose of making more money. He may claim he turns that money around and invests it into helping more people. But the evidence of him scripting videos, planting actors, and the contestant winners often conveniently being his friends paints a concerning picture. I'm sure many of you saw the "I worked for Mr. Beast, he's a fraud" video. While I'm not going to assume everything in that video is true without good evidence, it's a fact that contestants were handpicked by Mr. Beast and his crew. You see, they're not randomly selected like he might create an impression of. With many of the practices Mr. Beast engages in, I believe he uses very clever sales tactics. He's very good at telling white lies or hiding the truth from his audience. It's not that he'll openly lie. He'll simply suggest something and not elaborate. See, I think this makes Mr. Beast a very slimy guy. See, when I worked in sales, we were encouraged to use these same strategies to suggest the value of our product. This way, if you were caught, you can just say, well, I never said this had X amount of value. Yet you clearly implied it. That's some real bitchery in my opinion. If what you're trying to sell to your audience isn't good enough that you have to engage in this kind of sliminess, it's not worth selling. Just tell the truth and be open. I think it's very easy to let Mr. Beast off of the hook and not drill into the guy as much as you should, because he's a charming guy and he has an innocent look to him. But trust me, I've learned from personal experience, these are the worst kind of bastards that will stab you in the back when you least expect it. Betrayals are always by weak people who look innocent. Don't be fooled, guys. So now I want to get into whether someone like Mr. Beast is good for society. Is having a Mr. Beast a necessary component of society to help those who are in need? Basically, do we need extremely wealthy individuals who make money selling the image of helping the poor? Even if some people are actually helped along the way? See, I think these are all very big and very good questions. My initial thought is that it is incredibly sad that the poor even would need a Mr. Beast in the first place. Why doesn't our government already help these people? Some might say, well, that takes money from working Americans in the form of taxes, so it's not fair, they don't have a right to take my money I worked for. And while I can understand this thought, I'd want to ask, whether it's fair or not, wouldn't you want to live in a country where you know if anything ever happened to your job or your health, you and your family would still be okay? Don't you want to live in a country where most people don't have serious critical needs and then turn on the rest of society in anger? See, personally, I'd prefer to live in a country with some lazy assholes with no poverty than a country where we still have lazy assholes, but plenty of poverty. If you're concerned about fair, then what about the hard-working, noble people in bad circumstances, or the lazy, entitled, rich assholes? Conservatives can't stand supposedly lazy poor people, but don't seem to have as big a problem with lazy, rich assholes. Again, to me, it seems like the anger is often directed at the wrong people. After all, who do you think is really making our society worse? Lazy homeless people, or multi-billionaire lazy assholes who are strangling American wages, forcing us all to work horrible hours? Think, who has more power to screw up your life? Come on, you guys are smart. You know the answer. I think if we're honest, Mr. Beast deserves way more hate than he's getting. He has so much opportunity to be open and honest and directly help people who really need it. Why do all the cameras need to be on? Another point I want to make is that often people who take a very neutral stance on issues tend to be morally compromised. Not always, don't get me wrong. But to me, it's obvious that this country is absolutely corrupt and wicked. How could any good person not be furious and completely livid about the horrors our leaders engage in daily? This isn't a close call. It's obvious our society's very evil. So how can anyone who is a moral person be a fence sitter? I've grown to understand when I see this kind of person who places themselves halfway between good and evil. It really just means you're seeing them on their way to the evil side. As for Mr. Beast, we're going to see soon what allegations are true. Be careful around these kinds of people, guys. Remember, the thing about liars is they're very good at it. After all, it's all they know. Thank you guys for watching. Stay awake. This has been Red Pilled Robo. I'm shutting down. Until next time.